Fred's trying to recreate the great look on the hill, or the people, or the buses. You remember Galileo, your first of 11 Betfred Derby successes, when it was absolutely packed. What do you remember of that day?
Yeah, sure. Listen, it was a very special day. Obviously, it was a very important day for us. Galileo was Sadler's Wells' first Derby winner. He came with a massive reputation from Coolmore, and he did all the things up along, and obviously we saw what happened on the day. But it was a very special day. It was anxious, tense day. We knew how good and important it was, and how important it was to everybody, really. Listen, he travelled through the race great. Mick rode him, Mick and Ann, and we went through the race, and he told us what he would like to do, and it all played out lovely. Very unbelievable horse. Obviously we see the stamp that he's left on the thoroughbred pedigrees, and will forever. So yeah, unbelievable day. There's no race like the Derby, and I think the razzmatazz and the track and everything about it, it tests people and horses to the limit, and when it happens, what can I say, it's just incredible, really.
One of the main attributes is the temperament, of course, and the amount of people, obviously less in the last few years, but Freddie's putting on some buses, picking some people up, trying to get people back onto that hill to recreate the days of old in the Derby.
Yeah, I know, and I think Fred's foresight is incredible, what he's doing with the classics, and it's the classic generation frame the whole thoroughbred breed every year, and I think the fascination by it is something that people have to go to there to see it, feel it, and witness it. It's obviously it's competition with a lot of sports now, soccer and football obviously included, but there's nowhere like Epsom on Derby Day. There's no those classics on those days. It's the atmosphere is just the tension. Everyone has an opinion to see what happened, how people, horses are performing, and it does strange things to people and horses, that atmosphere. And I think you have to go there to feel it and witness it to see what does happen. I think it's an incredible initiative, but Fred had the foresight to see it and is making it happen, and I think it's very exciting.
You know what it takes to win a Derby, 11 of them. Aidan, what attributes do you need to be successful at Epsom?
Epsom is the ultimate test of a horse. They have to stay, they have to have a temperament, they have to be able to quicken, they have to have balance, they have to have the mind to go down the track backwards before it. They have to walk down the hill, walk around the back of the stalls, and they have to jump, and they have to fight hard up the hill, and it climbs into the sky the first 4 furlongs of Epsom, which is very unusual. There's no track in the world that does that. Levels are on the top, and halfway then it starts to fall away, and the cambers are left and right. It's absolute. I'd say it was an absolute nightmare to try and navigate it, but that's what makes it special. And any sport at the top level, it has to be different. But all the other sports all over the world in different places, they all kind of have a template that they work off. But when you go to Epsom, there's no template. So your natural ability is tested. You can do all the preparation that you want, but there is nowhere in the world like Epsom. The atmosphere, the congealations of the lefts and the right, and the turns of the track, you won't experience that anywhere. So really, usually what happens, only the best horse wins, and the horse with the most ability. And that's why obviously we saw with Galileo, never any thoroughbred went before him has left a stamp on the thoroughbred generations like he has, and will for a long, long time.
Thinking of specifically your 11 winners, going through some of these, I mean, in terms of temperament, which would be the most relaxed?
Yeah, they're all different. Galileo was very relaxed, but he was a free sweater. So he always looked relaxed on the outside, but when he used to sweat, gave it away. It's like some of us would look calm on the outside. When you start sweating with a horse, it gives it away that you're boiling inside, but you're holding it together. So, and it's the same with people on the day. You could be boiling inside, and you just have to try and hold it together, and you have to pull yourself together and get through it, and that's the way he was. But they're all different. Horses are like people, they're all different temperaments, personalities. Personalities are big in horses, and people don't realise that. And they usually get that from the person that's closest to them, that's riding them or doing them or leading them up or doing whatever over a long period of time. So it's such an unexact science, but I think that's what makes it fascinating, really.
Let's look at this year's contenders then. Benvenuto Cellini winning the Chest of Vase. What are you telling me about him?
Yeah, very happy with him. We always thought that he was going to be Pierre's biggest danger in the Derby, what we thought last year. We always thought he was a horse was going to be in there lurking. He was a good mover, well balanced. He gets a mile and a half. Well, I wouldn't be sure he gets much further than a mile and a half. But gets a mile and a half and would be very happy going back to a mile and a quarter. We're very happy with his trial. His Chester, he came through it very well. It was an even pace. He quickened well, travelled well, balanced well. And so he looks a very legitimate horse, and his prep has went very well so far.
You mentioned Pierre Bernard, he's still on course?
Yeah, Pierre is very good horse. Because we ran him into the autumn last year, he went to France for a mile and a quarter in soft grounds. It was a tough race for a 2-year-old, so we knew we had to build him up over the winter a lot, and we couldn't start him too early. Meaning start him, we couldn't get him into top shape too quick, because the condition that we built on him over the winter, we didn't want to take that off too quick, because then he might lose his strength doing that. So we knew we were always going to start slow and let one run bring him on to the next, and then hopefully the third run he'd be getting close to peak, and that was always the plan. He went to Leopardstown the first day, nothing went right. He was caught in a bad ground, it was messy pace, and he got back and all that. Usually when a horse needs to run, everything has to go right for you to win, but in Leopardstown nothing went right, but we understood that and knew why. We knew that he was going to improve plenty from that to the next day, which he did. But what happened, the last day the pace was too slow early, and he was only hacking along, and he didn't get into gear really, and the second part of the race happened too quick for him for being a mile and a half horse that could get a mile and 6. So he was a different type of horse, so he needed a strong tempo, which he didn't get the last day, but still ran very well. And hope and think that he came out of the race well. We think everything will step up 2 more notches between Leopardstown and Epsom. We think the mile and a half will suit him well. He's had his 2 preps now, so he should be prepped, and given normal improvement, he should be there. Obviously, we maybe should have seen more the last day, but we think we know that's there. But very happy with his run. He just got mugged on the line by one of Joseph's, but still very happy with the run.
In Constitution River, I know that obviously French or English Derby, Betfred Derby for him, but what have you seen in him that you think he could take to Epsom?
Yeah, we always thought he was a very good horse. Obviously he was off last year, he stopped early, so we had to train him gently. He was looking very exciting horse, very classy. He looked like a horse that could have paced enough for a mile, and he could stretch that out to a mile and a quarter, which he did in Chester, we saw. Whether he's able to stretch that out to a mile and a half, I'm not sure. So it's a decision the lads have to make, whether they go there or whether they go to France. Obviously, if you go the mile and a half, you're going into unknown territory in Epsom, because you will be exposed in Epsom. There's no doubt about that, if there is a weakness there about going a mile and a half. So they'll make that decision whether they go to France with him or to Epsom. If he goes to Epsom, listen, he's very classy, very exciting. It would be very hard for Ryan not to ride him, but you still can't be sure. Like, you must remember, Delapry he didn't win an Epsom Derby, so Epsom is the most unforgiving track in the world, and you will get exposed if you're in deeper than you should be at a certain trip or not. There's no doubt about that, and it's that we've seen both one track in the world, like, you will get exposed if there's a weakness somewhere, and we've seen so many good horses not able to win an Epsom Derby but still come back and be good. So they'll make the decision. We were very happy with him in Chester. He got the mile and a quarter and a half very well, and Ryan was very excited about him.
Let's start with the Betfred Oaks then. Amelia Earhart winning the Cheshire Oaks, trying to follow the Mini Hawk route.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she was always kinky and quirky last year. She's that type of filly. We were happy that she kept getting beat, because we could still go back to a maiden at her own level, and we didn't step her up until a mile, until the end. And obviously we saw what she did then. She, like I say, she has that kink and quirk in her. So we played around with her over the winter, see what would work the best for her, and we came down on a hood and blinkers together. The two of them totally contradict each other, but we did all the things, tried everything, and this was the one she was happiest in. So that's why we ran her in. A hood is to slow her down, a blinkers is to quicken her up. So who knows? You don't have to understand why things work if they do work, and they worked on her. She was very good in Chester, travelled well, settled well, quickened well. We feel that she's still not really opened out to see how much is in there, but we couldn't have been happier with her in Chester, really.
What about Cameo, the Lingfield winner?
Yeah, she's Wayne rode her first time this year, and in bad ground over a mile, and he said, nice ground, step her up and trip and you'll see a different filly. And that's what we did in Lingfield. She sailed around a nicely run race. We had a pacemaker, one of the other fillies went for it. You couldn't be happier, I think. She looked like a filly that would handle Epsom, and whether the lads decide to leave or go with Amelia, it will be very interesting.
Let's talk about the Coolmore Coronation Cup. Great to have you on board as sponsor at the Betfred Derby Festival. Looks like Lambourne and Jan Brugel go here.
Yeah, like obviously we were delighted to be able to have anything to do with a race like that. It's very special on Epsom Derby Day. It's just incredible, really. Yeah, he obviously won Betfred Derby last year. He's done very well. He got strong. He will get the mile and a half, as we know. His form tapered off a bit last year because he was a 3-year-old and he probably had a tough year. But we could not have been happy with him in Chester. They went to, like, Ryan never gave him an inch of a break the whole way, and he went all the way and still won. A mile and a quarter would be way too short for him. So he's going to go back up to a mile and a half, and he will be very comfortable at that. We were delighted with that. Be brave jockey, anyone to leave him go, because he'll go off in front, and if you don't follow him, it'll be very interesting. Jan Bagal ran in the Ormond. He won the Coronation last year. He came out of it well. We think the mile and a half will suit him well. Good pace. So it's going to make it very interesting. And hopefully Killandigan is going to come, and there's other good horses in as well. So it's going to be a hell of a day, Derby Day, at Epsom, hopefully.
The 11 Betfred Derbies, 10 Betfred Oaks, still massively important to you. And so we're delighted to be sponsoring and supporting the race. But just how important is it for both Ballydoyle, Coolmore and the breed?
Yeah, no, Matt, it's like I said, Fred had the foresight to do it. Was, I think, will be something that will be remembered for a long, long time, because the whole Turbid breed is based on the Epsom Oaks and the Epsom Derby. It's the ultimate test. There's nowhere in the world you can do it or try it, because there's so many variables that you cannot control, and there's nowhere to hide in it. So that's what the whole Turbid breed forever is based on, and will ever be based on. So it's so exciting. It's incredible.